So I think we're ready, everybody. So first and foremost, could everybody except Sandy mute their screen, please? The reason for that is not that we're trying to stop anyone from speaking. It's just that the amount of feedback that we get using this system is much worse when there are multiple people who are unmuted. You certainly will have an opportunity to talk, and we'll explain how that's going to go. So that's number one. I apologize to any public who's watching this. This is a first for us. Kudos to everybody's willingness to give it a shot. Please bear with us. We'll do the very best that we can. This meeting is being live streamed. It's also being recorded, so there will be a complete transcript. We will be putting it on our website. It was one of the questions that was given in to us. And it will all, of course, minutes are being taken by our district clerk and board secretary, Marie Barbella. So I'm going to ask Mrs. Scholl to call the meeting to order and to do the pledge and to go through the first couple of categories. And then, if at any point while she speaks, if you want to say something following what she says, just we'll take a breath, a pause, unmute, and you can certainly speak. And that will be true as we go through my report as well. So, Mrs. Scholl, I turn the mic over to you.
Okay, can I ask everybody to please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And before we start the meeting, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for those who are ill, for those who we've lost, and for our healthcare workers and our first responders who are putting their life on the line every day. A moment of silence, please. Okay, we will now proceed with the meeting. First, approval of the minutes. Does anyone have any question on the minutes? And that would be minutes of February 5th, March 4th, and March 18th. Any questions? Seeing none, they'll be filed as submitted. The financial reports, treasurer's report, transfer of funds, internal claims auditor review of warrants. Are there any questions?
File for audit.
Hearing none, it will be filed for audit. Okay, items for information. School closure update. Dr. Harrington, the floor is yours.
So thank you, Mrs. Scholl. So obviously there's a whole lot that I can share at this particular time, much of which has already been shared with the board, with the public, with our staff. But I want to focus on the main points that I'm sure are on everybody's mind right now. First and foremost is the recent decision and directive made by our governor relative to the waiver of the 180-day requirement. I will be sending a explanation of that to our faculty and staff who have been already in conversation with our principals and our directors, so they understand this is coming, they understand the reasons why. But I will also be sending a message out to our community explaining that as well. So in a nutshell, we are required to continue to do three things during that time period. One is the delivery of our free and reduced lunches and breakfast to our families in need. And thanks to the efforts of Jane Blackburn and her staff, that will continue with absolutely no stop at all. And they've been doing an amazing, amazing job. I really use this opportunity to thank them. In terms of our childcare provisions, thanks to our efforts that we joined up with Scope, that's going to continue with not a blip, no issue. Of course, the one that was raised a lot of questions is the continuity of instruction. So the message that I am going to send to our families, and that includes our teaching family as well, is that we are directed to have a continuity of instructional plan in place during that period as well. It is not negotiable. and we have absolutely no choice. It's a directive, and anything less, we would be violating the law. That being said, we also recognize that this break falls within some religious observances and holidays, and we want to make sure that all of our families have an opportunity to observe those holidays in a respectful manner, in the manner they choose with their families. We also understand that there were some people that were looking for a little bit of a break. That being said, we're going to ask our teachers to perhaps make the work look a little different over the course of the week, maybe long-term assignments rather than a daily check-in, whatever works for them, so that they feel they're being fair to their students and to their own families as well. We'll get through the week. And of course, the governor's directive at this point in terms of school closure is still officially through the 15th of April. However, I think we all fully expect that it is going to be longer than that. And I will just keep you informed every step of the way. But right now, that's where we're at. And the only thing I just really want to add at this point is a special shout out to our teachers and our administrators who really just stepped into a whole new norm. There are blips. There will continue to be blips. It's not perfect. One of the messages I'm going to give to our families this week is that, the reality is that we get teachers and principals are getting messages from families saying there's not enough work. And then we're simultaneously getting messages there's too much work. So this is not going to be a perfect science, and it will not be a one size fits all. I mean, at the end of the day, we expect teachers who have 25 or so kids in front of them at any given time to differentiate their instruction. Every learner is different. We expect that, and they do. And as master teachers, they do what they need to do to address the individual needs of their students on an as needed basis. That's just not a reality in this remote digital world that we're working in now. They're doing the very, very best that they can. So I think for the most part, we've gotten a lot of positive feedback in regards to that, and we're just going to continue to do more of the same. There are some other questions that have come up. Actually, a couple of them came directly from Mr. Pikowski, so I will address them because I was going to anyhow. One of the things that we obviously, as this goes further into the school year, we do need to address the grading policy and the grading situation. That has been a conversation that we've been in with our teachers and administrators since this all began. We obviously knew this would be an issue. We're trying to be smart about how we approach this. We don't want to hurt kids in any way, but we also want to keep kids accountable because teachers are working really hard to deliver instruction. So where you find that balance is a tough one. But I have faith in our administrators and teachers, and they are going to work it out. And information will be coming shortly, addressing in particular how we're dealing with grading. The other question about school closures, there was a question about graduation and prom and dawn delirium. All I'm comfortable saying at this point is I wake up every morning and I pray, in particular for this senior class in particular, that those events can go off as planned. I'm an optimist, and I'm going to stay that way. But I obviously there's a lot that still remains to be seen. The good news is we don't end school until the very end of June. The way I look at that, that's 3 long months away, which feels like an eternity right now. But obviously, we want those events to take place, but we can only do it if we're allowed to, and if it's safe for everybody involved. We will, as time gets on, we will certainly have backup plans that we can enact, and we're in conversations about that right now. One other thing about the closures that I'm going to open up the conversation to the board. There is increased concern. It was expressed by some community people, and I have to be honest with you, from some of my own people, that still our students in particular at the high school and some other schools, but it seems to be mostly at the high school, that they are not getting the message about not congregating in the fields. And while we certainly would love to think that we can have our open fields for all of our people to get out and exercise and do the right thing. It seems that that's still an issue. So I know the board, we had somewhat of a discussion about this within the last couple of days. Some of our fields are almost impossible to close off, but we could put monitors there if we wanted to. I'm not sure that's the answer, but I'm going to stop talking and allow anyone who wants to weigh in on that to just unmute and weigh in. And I will tell you today, I did ask Rob Byrne to go down to the high school because there seemed to have been a significant number of students, and I believe that he did, and very respectfully asked them to please, try to, disperse so that they can keep their appropriate social distance. So it's still an issue. I'll open the floor to conversation.
One board member at a time. Do we have any comments from anyone?
Yeah, I can tell you that I've been past school 5 today, 3, the high school, and school 2, and there was nobody on the fields at that time.
Okay.
They weren't playing lacrosse yesterday. I can see the kids playing lacrosse, but it's not like it was the week before when you had 60 or so kids congregating, and you don't have that mosh pit either anymore.
Well, the only thing, Bob, I'm wondering your thoughts about this. I hear you, and that's good to know. And I'm really not looking to be a police person on this. I'm really not. But at the same time, what I worry about is yesterday was not a particularly nice day. Hopefully, on the one hand, the weather will get nicer over the next couple of weeks. And I am concerned that as the weather gets nicer, that could be more of an issue, which could mean we can wait and see what happens at that point. But I just was wondering your thoughts about that.
Well,
Personally, I think that our fields at the two biggest targets would be the Merle Avenue complex and the high school, because they have a track where people can walk and socially distance themselves. And I have hesitation about closing that to people that need the exercise and want to do the walk and do the right thing. The other thing I have a hesitation about is putting any of our personnel at risk when some of this is really parental responsibility to make sure they know where their kids are and that they're keeping their kids home. Because we're doing all of this for a reason. So now we're going to have to put personnel on duty and put them at risk to police our grounds and make people stay away. I don't know. I'd like to hear what others have to think on this one.
I didn't see abuse. At 6, the parents walk, the kids walk. They're separated. The spacing was fine. The only time I saw anything that was really a problem was when the high school kids pulled into the orchestra lot and they had an ad hoc, meeting. Although I got to say, they kind of stayed, away and distanced themselves. Riding around town, I noticed at St. Christopher's, and that the parents had gotten into the parking lot and they set up lawn chairs and were talking, and they were about 25 feet apart. They are practicing safe distancing, but they're kind of trying to socialize a bit because they probably are getting cabin fever. Mm-hmm. I think people are trying to be responsible. I wouldn't want to upset the apple cart too much because they do need the track and the ability to play. I didn't see people using the play sets, particularly at 3. They weren't on the play sets. I think the parents were smart enough to keep the kids so that they did activities that really amounted to walking and running.
I agree with Bob. I agree with Bob that let's see what happens. Because I think it's going to get better before it gets worse. And with the nice weather, it could get worse. But right now, I let parents be parents, and kids are going to follow, but I don't want to police them. I don't. We've locked our fields. We've locked our grounds. We've noticed everybody constantly that we're closed. We're closed and you can't congregate. The government from the president down has told them they can't congregate. Let them police themselves at this point. And let's see what happens.
I have a question, Phyllis. Everything that could be locked has been locked. In other words, have we locked any of the playgrounds at all?
No,
I don't think we did. I think we
No, I don't think we have.
I
I don't
think-
think anything's been locked.
Yeah,
No,
but
I meant as far as there's no invitation for people to, come hang out at our school. They've been told, don't hang out at our school, at the schools.
Right.
They hang out, but I think that I'm with Bob with what Bob
I
said.
got him.
I don't need to belabor this.
I did get a text from one of our residents saying that there was a full-blown lacrosse game going on at the high school. I sent an email over to Bob Sloat if he can just send security there. I didn't witness it, but I rode my bike down by the park and the park was empty. And I have seen lacrosse doing some type of, I don't know if they're doing training or I don't know if they're doing practicing. I don't know if it's a club pickup thing or I don't think it's a school thing.
There's no formal anything going on. Kids are getting together and they're playing, whether it be lacrosse, whether it be running on the track, whether they're playing, having a catch on the field. There's no formal anything going on. They're doing this all on their own. They're kids. And that's what they're doing.
So
and again, I believe that it has gotten better as more of the word has gotten around. This is serious. This is not a joke. And young people are also getting sick. So I don't think to say that there's a full-blown lacrosse game going on they're all pick up. These kids have social media. They can meet, 50 kids can meet in 5 minutes somewhere. So that's what's going on all around between baseball. I saw kids playing soccer. That's what they're doing. I saw kids playing handball at school 6. That's what they're doing. But they have to police themselves and their parents have to. We don't need to be the police. That's my opinion.
Let me just say also that the person that contacted you, Mike, but there were also people on Facebook making a comment about that. Our kids have a lot of gear. They have a lot of gear that says Oceanside. They have a lot of gear that says that they have our issued helmets and things like that right now when they're in season. That doesn't mean we're sanctioning it. We certainly aren't. We've told them to stay off the fields, to stay home, to stay away from each other. So again, there's some personal responsibility here, and there's some parental responsibility here. I don't want this to be blamed on the coaches because this is not the coaches.
Sandy, don't misinterpret what I said. I just said there was a full-blown game. I didn't say it was a full game, a pickup game, or what it was.
Okay,
I
so
just want to make it clear.
If I could just clarify just one thing. I do believe, and forgive me that I don't know school for school, but the schools where the playground equipment could be closed up or gated or, we did lock those up, but that's because we didn't want the kids on the surfaces. Those were closed weeks ago, but the vast majority of our fields are open, and I am extremely comfortable just moving on. It was a question raised by a community member. I did get a couple of, questions about it over the course of the last couple of days. I agree with the sentiment. I don't think there is a different sentiment among the board. So I think we can move past the conversation on the fields.
Right. Phyllis, I agree. And can we just monitor the situation? Yeah. And if it does get out of hand, then maybe we'll have to do like we did today, send Rob over or send someone over to say politely, could you please socially distance yourselves?
So I want to talk a little bit while I have the floor about the impact on the budget and where we're going with that. But before I do that, is there any other question anyone has about the whole concept of the 180-day waiver? Anything with that?
No, just one other comment though. Are we going to now, since the law has changed, since we sent home the letter on Friday, and since we updated our website, are we now going to leave it alone? Because on our website, it still says we're closed till the 20th, but technically, according to this new directive from the governor, it's the 15th. Do we go back and sync with him, or do we leave it just alone?
No, I think that's yeah. I think either way we do it, we're going to raise questions. I think you're probably right, though. We technically, if we all woke up tomorrow and the world was a different place than we know it today, and we were safe to have kids go to school on the 15th, we would open our doors on the 15th. So it probably should say the 15th just to be technically correct.
Right.
But I'm going to be sending out, further information about all of the impacts of this, including, by the way, the fact that we haven't yet gotten any directive regarding the Regents exams. I do know that that SED, the commissioner, because of my role with the state, I've been in privy to a number of meetings with her. That's on their minds, obviously, as is, quite honestly, the whole APPR, and which I know is, not top of everybody's list, but it is a reality of the way they need to deal with that as well, with the limited amount of school time. So those things are still very much to be determined. But
what I heard as of today is the Board of Regents doesn't meet till Monday. So the probability of the Regents State Ed coming out with any directive on the Regents exam is not likely to be this Friday. It's more likely to be maybe Tuesday or after the Board of Regents meets on Monday. But that's that was the update of, as of now. The only thing that I ask is that our website just be in sync with the law, so that we're not giving a mixed message or confusing people. That was the only reason I brought it up.
Great point. And, just quickly in terms of the APPR, the Regents may weigh in on that, but remember that was a legislative law, so it would require another executive order.
A statutory issue.
I'm sure that that's not on the top of the governor's list right now, but it is being, he knows, SED knows it has to be addressed. All right, let's talk quickly about budget and how we're shifting our conversations relative to the public and the board. So a couple of things you should know. Mr. Coakley, Ms. Kahan, and I are continuing to work on our budget. We were very, very close to really finalizing it. The good news is we built the budget. We built the revenue expectations very conservatively. So the news that we got today hurts, but doesn't hurt as badly as it might have. We did get a run from the state, which I will share with you as soon as I pull all this stuff together. But at the end of the day, we're losing, if you recall, the original run from the governor suggested we were going to be down about $500-something thousand from the year before. That number is up to 900,000, give or take. So we're down an additional 400,000, which we are confident that we will be able to look tightly at the budget without impacting anything we've already talked about. I know we haven't talked about staffing yet, but we have a number of retirements, as you know, that's helping a lot in terms of the budget. But we should be okay. But we are definitely, we like everybody else, no surprise here, definitely took a hit. So I will be prepared to make our final budget presentation and adoption, assuming we add another board meeting. The other thing for the public, if you haven't already heard, I know the board members know this, tentatively, the new date for the board elections and budget vote is June 1st. Let's hope we can keep that date. That's our biggest hope right now. With that date, of course, it backs up all of the other timelines of when we actually have to adopt the budget, when we have to do a public notice, and all the things that go with that. But I would be prepared with the board's permission to have a board meeting, and I looked at the calendar just for ease of looking at a Wednesday evening. I would look at April 22nd, but honestly, any day that week would work. I think would work. So I'd like to ask the board if they would be interested in establishing another regular meeting Wednesday, April 22nd.
It's fine with me. Any objection from the board?
It's okay with me. I don't know what everybody else is going to be doing anyway.
Okay, so why don't we schedule it for the 22nd?
Okay. And I will get the information out in advance so the community can see the budget that we're finalizing, and they can ask any questions similar to the way that it was done this time. Questions will be addressed directly to Ms. Barbella. The last thing I'm going to address that came from one of our community members.
All right, can I just ask one question, back up for 1 second on the run that came in from the state today? The additional 400,000, is that it now? Is that the floor? Is that what we're going to be working with?
That is
We're going to be any other reductions as they receive as they see that they look at their revenues, and any future losses in their revenues? Is this going to go down more? Because that was some of the conversation the governor was having about doing a quarterly review of his revenues. And if we didn't meet it, then there were going to be other reductions. I mean, is this the bottom line floor for us?
The best answer I can give you now, having received this about maybe an hour ago, is I believe that it is. Mr. Coakley and I had a very brief conversation before this meeting. We are going to meet tomorrow. Just so I'm clear in my mind, but I believe the answer to that is yes. And even if it isn't, Sandy, we are going to prepare for worst case scenario.
Right.
I would much rather be in a position that we wind up with more revenue than we expected at the end of next year than less revenue.
Right.
Obviously.
That's why I'm asking the question. I'd rather know now what the bad news is, bottom line for the year, and prepare for it, than to have him come in every quarter and say, well, we didn't hit our revenue, so now we're going to have to take this much more away from you. That to me is much more uncomfortable. Tell us up front what it is, and then we'll have to make it work.
Understood.
Okay.
So the very last thing that came up as a community question was the way this board meeting was advertised, and the fact that we did not send out an email or a school messenger. I will take full responsibility for that. And I also, it matches my philosophy and continues to match the philosophy I've been very consistent with, which is that our families have been bombarded with messages, with text messages, with videos, with emails. I have been very strategic as to how I let people know about things. The bottom line is that it was on our website. There was a suggestion that it be on our Facebook page, which was starting to try to gain traction with that. That was a great suggestion. And moving forward, we will certainly do that. But I will not be sending emails or school messages to people to tell them that our board meeting is going to take place on a certain date and will be live streamed. We will advertise it as best as we can.
Dr. Harrington, obviously some people were checking in the website every day, which is part of their routine. They did see it, and then they did post it up to the various PTA pages. So some people are watching their website on a daily basis. So they did have knowledge of it, and they did try to circulate the information on Facebook. And I know I copied and circulated some of that as well.
No, I appreciate the belief that some people have about the way we should publicize certain things, but I think there's information overload. People who want the information, it's there. They know where to seek it. It's not that difficult. I rather err on that side. That's just my own, again, professional, personal belief.
All right. So the meeting of April 22nd, will we be including that in one of the emails you are sending home that kind of summarizes, once a week where we're at, where we're headed? Can we add that to the email there?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes my report in terms of school closure updates.
Any questions from any of the board members? Okay, seeing none, Mr. Coakley, you're up. Construction report.
President Scholl, thank you. The construction report is as submitted. I would just like to point out there were some proposed projects for the month of April, being that the governor's executive order is to really review essential versus non-essential. Those proposed projects have been deemed non-essential and have been put off until further notice.
Okay.
Mrs.
Any questions from the board on the construction report?
Mrs. Scholl, if I could just add to that.
Dr. Harrington.
I want to let the entire board know that the board building committee, which comprises of Mr. Transom, Mrs. Mulhern, and Mr. Maresca, and in this case, Mrs. Scholl as board president, we've been invited to a meeting on April 8th with the company ECG that is going to talk with us about an energy performance contract. We had one preliminary meeting. They've done their preliminary assessment, and they are ready to share their current findings with the board. Very excited about that. More to come on that front. We will certainly be able to fill the entire board in at the appropriate time, as well as the community. But we're definitely moving forward on that. We're not letting the current situation stand in the way of that at all.
Any questions from the board?
Yes, Mr. President Scholl, the kindergarten center. Can I ask about that, where we're at with that?
Yeah, you mean the facade outside?
Yeah, exactly.
That was
We talked about doing it, and I'm like, we're stopped.
That was the work Jarrell was referring to. The asbestos abatement took place, that's done, but any further work has got to stop, cease and desist right now.
So we still have the scaffolding and everything else up there to protect and
Yep.
stuff like that, right? Okay, good, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, superintendent's report.
Enrollment and overnight field trips as submitted.
What overnight?
Not much doing there.
Okay, all right, now, this is my request as we go into items for action. I want to move very slow on this because of the format that we're utilizing. I don't want to rush it, and I want to be able to get out a statement as to what we're voting on so the public is aware of what we're voting on. So I ask you to go slowly with me, and then when you do your votes, just take it slowly, and I just want to check in with Marie. Marie, you'll let me know if you're not recording, if you're confused on anything, okay?
Yes, I will.
Okay, so the first item for action is the Department of Community Activities proposed tuition for the 2020 year. It's for the playground, for the summer playground. All in favor?
I move it.
Aye.
You got to move it.
First, I
Yep.
need a motion. Bob is moving
I
it.
moved it.
Can I
I'll
get a
second
second? Don is seconding, Marie. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone
Aye.
opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, Marie, tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready for you.
Okay, item B, participation in the BOCES cooperative bid for transportation services. Can I get a motion?
I move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, Marie.
Thank you. God,
Item C, approval of member of the community on special education. So we have one new member being added to as a CSC chairperson. Can I get a motion?
I move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And any opposition? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Okay,
Thank
item, oops, is there somebody there? No. Okay, Marie, sorry. Item D, approval to allow a student to complete the 2019-20 school year at School 6. Can I
Move
get a
it.
motion?
I move
Se-
it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Item E, approval to accept a donation from Steel Equities for various items of furniture with a $38,850 value. Each board member received a breakdown of that donation. And I'm assuming that a letter of thank you will be sent to Mr. Lustrito and Mr. Rocos. Can I get a motion?
Make a motion to move.
Mr. Scholl,
Let me do the motion first. Motion first on the floor.
I make a motion to move it.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Second.
Discussion, Dr. Harry?
Whatever.
yes, I just wanted to clarify, we did get a request from a community member for the breakdown, which we can certainly send. That's not an issue. I want to be clear that this was a huge warehouse filled with a tremendous amount of wonderful furniture and chairs and couches and cabinets that we were able to secure and utilize throughout our district. So it was a much appreciated donation, and it's been put to very good use in our schools. and I will send out the breakdown to, at the request of the community member.
And will that breakdown also will be included in the minutes of our meeting?
You can do that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I would just put it right into the minutes of the meeting. Okay, motion on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Fine.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And any abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, the next item is F, approval of use of facilities. Kind of a moot point at this point, but can I get a motion?
I move it.
Can I
Second.
get a second?
Yes, Seth seconded.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Motion
I know this is just a
carries.
technicality, but it was actually changed to Sunday, March 8th. So when Marie does the minutes, it will reflect Sunday, March 8th, not Saturday, March 7th.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, item G, approval of an agreement between Oceanside Union Free School District and Scope that has to do with childcare for our first responders and healthcare workers. Can I get a motion, please?
I make a motion to move it.
Can I get a second? All in favor?
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone-
Who just, Sandy, who seconded that? I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Maresca?
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Then the motion carries. Are you okay now, Marie?
I am, thank you.
Okay, next is item H. It's special education placement recommendations. Can I get a motion?
Make a
I make a motion.
All right, Mr. Cass made a motion. Mr. Blau made the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion carries. All right, item I, professional personnel recommendations.
Move it.
Move it.
Second.
You got those, Marie?
I do, yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstention? Okay, the motion carries.
Mrs. Shoal, if I may, first thing I would like to do is ask the board to, once we're concluding this meeting, I would like to ask for a very quick exec session that has to do with some of the professional recommendations that you just approved. So that's number one. Number two, obviously, I wanted to take advantage, and I believe Mr. Carlo may in fact be on the line somewhere, whether she is or isn't. I still am quite, I feel very obligated to share very publicly for the record that she was one of the first recommendations I had to make to this Board of Education now, I don't know, 8 years ago. And I never for 1 second regretted that recommendation. Jerry took the helm of a huge building, and she knew it well. She knew the players, and we didn't miss a beat. She's been a wonderful leader. I know that this decision was not an easy one for her. I'm sure these last couple of months have absolutely made it clear to her that it was the right decision. But at the same time, I will miss her professionalism. I will miss her laughter. I will miss her dedication to kids. Her leadership, her camaraderie. And I know that regardless of what the next couple of months are going to be like, we're going to find a way to celebrate her and thank her for all that she gave to the Oceanside schools. Similarly, there are some, amazing names on this list of people that are retiring, a number of music teachers. Certainly Angela Abend, who's been a gift to this district for many, many years, and has created an environment unlike so many others, and she will be sorely missed as well. And of course, the last one that the board knew about, but now is public, is Mr. Bullis. Mr. Bullis came in and took over for Ms. Bravito, which was not an easy act to follow, as you all know. He did a fabulous job. And at the end of the day, however, his life circumstances changed a bit, and he moved even further out east and was ultimately given an opportunity to to take a position much closer to his home. And as a dad of two little babies, he made a very difficult decision that was in the best interest of his entire family. So we'll have more opportunity, I hope, and pray to celebrate all of these individuals. But I did want to take this opportunity at right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Harrington. Item J, civil service personnel recommendations. Can I get
Move
a,
it. Move it.
can I get a
Second.
second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Any abstentions?
I abstain. This is Bob.
Yep,
Yes.
okay. Marie, one
Yes.
abstention, Mr. Transom.
Correct. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, hourly employee recommendations. Can I get a motion?
Motion and move it.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Take your pick,
Go ahead.
Marie. All in
I got
favor?
You can give it to Stu.
Take your pick.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions?
I abstain.
Motion carries.
I abstain.
Oh, we have one abstention.
Okay.
Okay, so the last two items had one abstention each. Okay. Finally, the approval of the co-curricular appointments.
Move it.
Item L.
I'll move it.
Can I
I'll
get a
second it.
second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone
Sandy,
opposed?
Sandy, who seconded that?
Take your pick.
Michael,
Sounded like Michael, sounded like Stu Kaplan, so pick one.
go, madam. Give it to Stu.
Stu. Okay.
Okay, can I
Thanks, Mike.
vote, please? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, Dr. Harrington, where do we go from here?
Okay, is any opportunity for the board? Did you just do that? Anybody wants to say anything? Okay. So what we will do, you'll adjourn. Oh, go ahead, Bob.
I was going to say we move into executive session to talk about personnel and other agenda appropriate for that discussion.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Bob?
I move to adjourn.
I'll
Okay,
second it.
we're in adjournment. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you
night.
all.
Thank
Great
you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How do we share this?
Bye.
Good job.
Okay.
Bye.
Good night.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Good night,
Good night,
all.
Bob.
Thank you.